Hello everyone, I'm Debbie. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to make some meatballs, but I'm not going to use my normal regular recipe that I would use normally with breadcrumbs, or you could just use bread soaked in some milk. Today I'm going to try to make it a little bit healthier, and I'm going to use oatmeal. And I got the quick cooking ones, but you can use either or. And this recipe I have calls for 1/3 cup, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use 1/3, because it's just like when I make my meatballs. I don't like a lot of breadcrumbs, so we're just going to sprinkle some in and see what I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with 1/2 of 1/3. So, yeah. And then, of course, I put some garlic. Put as much as you like. Oh, that's onion powder, sorry. Garlic powder and onion powder. Probably about a teaspoon each. Or go with 1/2 if you're not a big spice person. And, because I don't know, I never measure. I try to measure for these videos, but... And some black pepper. And, of course, everyone knows I like my salt. About a teaspoon of salt, and you need salt. Salt brings out the flavor and everything. And table salt, I use kosher salt, but those aren't the salts that are the ones that are causing you problems if you're having problems with salt. It's the salt that comes in packaged food and processed foods, and so don't be scared of using like the table salt. And of course I love parsley, so I put a big heaping tablespoon of parsley, and I'm going to put some oregano. I didn't get that out. Here it is. So I'm going to use about, I love oregano, about a teaspoon. And you can put as much as you want, or just, what I was going to say is just adjust this with your recipe that you use for your meatballs, meatloaf. And just substitute the oats, because oats are so much better for us than white bread or white breadcrumbs. And I'm going to use my garlic that I keep in my fridge with oil in it, but you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put it in there. And I think I'm going to use it all. It's about a tablespoon, but you might want to go a little bit less. And before I start mixing, I always make sure that I get everything ready. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to make a few stuffed mushrooms, about 3 of them, well, maybe 4. And what I do is I just take the stems out, just kind of pop them open, just kind of wiggle it a little. Don't be too gentle, because then you'll break it and it splits apart. Be a little firm with it. Let them know who's boss. And then you want to take like a little napkin and wipe these off. And of course, after you wipe them off, then wipe this counter spot off here too. You're never supposed to put mushrooms into water, because they get like soft, kind of, they soak up things, like they soak up the oil when you're cooking. Okay, and so then always clean up that mess. Let me grab a real rag, because you don't want all that dirt that you just took off going in to what you're making. So then I take out a little sheet pan, and I spray mine with the tiniest bit of spray just so they don't stick. Put them on there and get those ready. And then I take the stems, like that we pulled out of the mushrooms. Let me grab my knife. And then do all this and prep all this before you touch the hamburger. I cut the tip off of my stems because it gets kind of tough and a little brown. And oops, that one went on the floor. Oh, here comes Justice. I better get that. He won't eat it anyway, but I don't think mushrooms are good for doggies. But yeah, I just cut a little bit off of the edges. I don't know which ends which. So I'll cut a little bit off of both ends. they get dried up on the end. Okay, and so some of these are going to be just meatballs and some are going to be for my stuffed mushrooms. So I just kind of cut it like you would a garlic clove. Cut it down that way. And they're so soft, they just cut up so easy. And they don't have to be perfect, just go over them a little. And they just give extra flavor. I could put mushrooms in everything I eat. For some reason, none of my kids are into mushrooms, but I love them. I could eat them in everything. I love them in scrambled eggs, like your omelets, and I love them. I even put them in my taco meat. I try to put it in everything. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. You don't have to cook that or anything, but you could cook all this first and then put in your stuffed mushrooms, but I think it's easier to stuff it and then do it. Okay, but today I'm not going to eat my meatballs, so I'm going to freeze them. And now usually I freeze my meatballs up raw. You can do them raw or cooked and freeze them. And just lost my train of thought, but freeze them and or cook them and then freeze them. But either way, or you can cook them like right now, like you know you're planning for your regular dinner. Okay, let me get you a look in there. And the worst thing you can do is spend too much time mixing. Just make sure you get all the spices mixed. And, you know, just don't, the more mixing you do, they get kind of heavy and they're like a bomb instead of a meatball. So, try to do them loosely. And then when you roll your meatballs, I like to do mine really loose too. See, and that looks really good. That's how it should look. It shouldn't look runny. It shouldn't look dry. And then I just take about a golf-sized ball and don't you know spend a lot of time. I kind of just rub it like softly in between the little cup in your hand. And I am going to cook a few of these, I guess. Probably just be easier. Cook them up. I'll let them cool completely, and then I'll put them in the freezer bag, and then one day this week I'll have meatballs. Okay, and then we're going to put the oven on 350 and just let them cook for 20 to 30 minutes, and you get less grease in the in your body. In your system when you don't fry them in a frying pan. Like I always used to fry mine, but now I just throw them in the oven. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make about 6 meatballs and 4 mushrooms. That's what I normally do. And this way I'm prepping up a meal. This is actually going to be like 1, 2, about well, stuffed mushrooms aren't really a meal, but for me they are. I'll have that for tonight, and I'll have these meatballs for another night. So see, I got them all set up, and then just take these mushrooms, put them in there, give it a good mix. See, takes no time at all, and then just stuff them in there, and I overstuff mine as much as I possibly can. So they're about that big. But you don't have to stuff yours that high if you don't want, but I love stuffed mushrooms. I love meatballs, so what better way? And it looks like I got enough for another one, so I might have to just do another one. See that? Make them up big. You know, I think that should be good. A couple weeks ago I made these little Mikey, my grandson, he was here, and I didn't think he'd eat the mushrooms, so we started making them, and all of a sudden he's over here eating all the mushrooms. I'm like, hey, I didn't think you'd like mushrooms. But it was alright, we shared them. And so here they are. Now, of course, you're not going to see these finished until you see the picture at the end. But here they are. I guess I made them kind of big. I don't usually make them quite that big, but hey, the bigger the better. So these are going to go in your oven, 350. Let them cook 20 to 30 minutes. What I usually do is cut one open, split it down the middle, make sure it's done inside. And if it's not, put it in for 10 more minutes or so. And usually you can tell by the outside if it's you know, just about done. But anyway, give this a try. It's a prep meal, easy for you to prep up. And this is my first time trying it with the oatmeal, so I'll let you know how they come out. And you can try this with the chicken or the turkey if you don't want to do it with the beef. But give it a try. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Click the like button. Share my videos. And of course, always be blessed. And I'll see you on the next video.